Russia has launched a major aerial attack on Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv, with at least one person reported killed. The city's mayor says it's the biggest attack on Kharkiv since the start of the war in 2022, with more than 40 explosions reported since the early hours of this morning. It comes a day after a large-scale Russian drone and missile attack on the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv killed at least 6 people and injured dozens of others. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump says Ukraine gave Putin a reason to go in and bomb the hell out of them after Sunday's massive attack on air bases deep inside Russian territory. Well, for more, let's go to Kyiv now and speak to Michael Bociurkiw, Senior Fellow at the US think tank, the Atlantic Council, and Global Affairs Analyst. Thank you for joining us here. So are we looking at the response from Putin after that drone attack, which was carried out by Ukraine?
Good to be with you, Sarah. Yes, absolutely. This is Russia responding in a very heavy way. That attack on Kharkiv you mentioned overnight, I just watched some of the videos from state television. It's apocalyptic scenes. It points to something I heard yesterday at a briefing at the East Europe Foundation, that Russia seems intent on leveling that city. And as you pointed out, it's the second largest city in Ukraine, as well as other cities. Kyiv was relatively calm overnight, but I'm close to a bomb shelter, which is why I'm in the lobby. But also Ternopil in far western Ukraine was hit again, and Dnipro. If I can give you a worst case scenario of what's seen as part of this pattern of what I heard yesterday, is that if Russia continues along this course with a strong summer offensive, the front line could move as much as 60 kilometers. And according again to the East Europe Foundation, that could generate a displaced population movement of up to 250,000 people. Huge burden on Ukraine and, of course, neighboring countries potentially.
Okay, so the situation escalating once again quite rapidly. How much damage, do we have a sense of really how much damage strategically was carried out by this drone attack, which, you know, has been, I mean, the more you read about it, the more incredible really it seems that it was able to carry out. But how much actual damage did it to the Russian military machine?
Well, it had, I think, a very strategic blow, but also, I think, a symbolic blow in terms of bringing the war to the doorsteps of the Russian people, showing vulnerabilities in Russian defenses, not only at those air bases in Russia, but also the Kerch Bridge. I mean, these were stunning kind of violations of Russian defenses, and it kind of reminded me, I think one of the last times you and I spoke was when the Ukrainians invaded the Kursk region of Russia. At that time, we were talking about possible insubordination, or at least incompetence by intelligence and military services. So there's something, not everything adds up here. There's more than meets the eye in terms of what Ukraine was able to do. But as we're seeing again, what happened in Kharkiv and here in Kyiv the night before, the Russians have stockpiled a lot of kit, a lot of muscle to hit back very hard.
I mean, that is the point, isn't it? That whilst this drone attack was seen as successful, from what we know, there are now the consequences. And the question is how severe those consequences are going to be for Ukraine.
Yes, I spoke to a former American ambassador to Ukraine yesterday, and he said that a best case scenario, if we can even put it that way, would be for Mr. Trump to realize that Putin has overplayed his hand in terms of what he's doing in Ukraine right now. And hopefully that would trigger two things: another set of sanctions, but very punishing ones. And secondly, open the floodgates to U.S. support of Ukraine in terms of military intelligence sharing. But as you know, the political will, the ability of the Trump administration to do something like that is waning. So Ukraine obviously is looking to other partners in Europe to replace the United States.
Yeah, good to talk to you. Michael Bociurkiw there, a Senior Fellow at the US think tank, the Atlantic Council. Thank you.